world turning, Mr. Fleetwood Mac. Not really Mr. Fleetwood Mac, it's Fleetwood Mac, but there was a Mr. Mac in there someplace. Anyways, nonetheless, Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Certainly good on my side of things. Here to try to help awaken us all, be a part of this process with each and every one of us. It's a lot of good times. So what I want to do today's show on is kind of the concept of visualization, how to balance it into our lives maybe a little better, the pros of doing it for sure. I mean, certainly talking about the whole, Goddard imagining from the end and all that. And a lot of these techniques that many of us find we do, trying to find a way to sort of balance this within our lives in a healthy way, and to the point to where we're able to enjoy the moment. Like, where I'm not so worried about the manifestation thing that's all I think about, not that like how I need to keep doing this because I want to get it faster. First off, just that's a bad level of consciousness in general, because you're doing it because you don't have it, because you're doing it because you don't have it, because you're doing it because you don't have it. So you keep doing the same thing and it's not working. Really what it comes down to is you do the work and you let go of it for the, half the day or the day. And you go about your day and you enjoy the things that happen in your day, your interactions with other people, your job, maybe the things that happen. I don't know what you learned. I don't know, whatever it is that you do to get you, moving along in the day, you enjoy it. So some of the things that are kind of worthy of noting, certainly when we visualize, it's an extremely powerful technique and definitely recommend it. And we're going to get into aspects of it for sure. And I want to kind of try to, like I said, it's a balance issue, because I think a lot of us feel like we need to do this way too often, way more than we need to. And you don't need to do it constantly. It's not like that. It's not. So relax a little. It is a process. Some of you are like, yeah, it's a process. So when am I going to get it? When am I going to get it? When am I going to get it? It's a process. Might be tomorrow. By the way, hey, got the official offer. So notice has been put in. Everything's official. Ginormous raise. This is really an awesome moment. So I just finally all done with that. And again, that was my last show yesterday, was how, things didn't happen exactly as I was hoping. And then all of a sudden, it works out. But certainly when we visualize, it activates your creative subconscious. It basically helps kind of start generating those creative juices, those creative thoughts. The idea of visualizing, just that whole process of trying to visualize, actually makes you better at visualizing. So essentially, it kind of gets those juices flowing and get you some practice. And the better and better and better you get at it, the more incredible your envisioning can be. Now, like I've said before in other shows, like as far as art, like I've been able to envision really beautiful things inside my mind, and then I got to try to draw it. And somehow connecting it from there to there through my arm with a freaking pencil or whatever, doesn't come out how it looks. That's for darn sure. Visualization, it also helps program your brain. Kind of gets your brain ready to accept that this is a reality that's going to happen, or this is something that's occurring, or whatever, however it works out in your mind, it gets it ready to accept it. It also activates the law of attraction. Generally speaking, when you get yourself in these thought processes, it starts to create this feeling. And a lot of us are like, how do I feel like it? Well, you think about it, and if you think about it and make it real enough, it starts to feel real to a degree. It's like imagining when we were younger. We used to imagine our imaginary friends. We'd have conversations with them. You knew how they felt, right? It's the same thing. Just create this imaginary person, or connect with a source on the other side if you like. But whatever the case is, like, try to get that practice of getting that energy, and it really helps. And it also helps you build your internal motivation. This, I think, is a very important part. Our internal motivation will require action to happen from time to time, without a doubt. Absolutely guarantee, 100% for sure, action will definitely be needed. It will be required. And if you fail to act, that will cost you an opportunity. And sometimes you only get so many opportunities. I will be honest, there are times where you will not get additional opportunities. You make the mistake enough times and, whatever. You might have to try something different. But that is done. That door's closed. So remember, acting is hugely important. Inspired, certainly. If it's one of those situations where like, shouldn't I? Yeah, look to the inspired thing. If it's not really inspired, probably shouldn't. If you feel like, I got to do this, like, yeah, do it. But if it's a situation where someone ends up in your world, in your face, somehow in your vision, in a place where you can go and go, hey, If you don't do that, you failed. Not maybe permanently, but you've got to take action when you manifest it. People think, well, I tried to manifest him coming straight to me. Well, it may not work out exactly like you imagined. Sometimes it does. I hear lots of stories of that happening, but I will also tell you it does not 100% always happen that way. There's plenty of success stories where they're like, yeah, it was super close. Good enough. Seriously, good enough. Like, I imagined the walls being peach. Oh, and they were champagne color. Like, come on. Like, whatever. So again, very important to try to balance that. Visualization, I can't even say this word. Visualization, it's effective because it helps harness the power of our subconscious mind. The subconscious is the part that's usually at work, the part that'll ask questions, the part that kind of might sometimes meddle in your affairs, but it helps I like to think of it as the little child, really, is kind of how I look at it. But the subconscious is basically that one that you give it some love, you let it know what you're planning on doing. It's amazing how much your subconscious will be like, okay, I'm cool with that. As long as you include me, as long as you treat me like a person and let me help, then cool. So it helps. This also can create this conflict in our subconscious mind where we're envisioning this thing and we realize we don't have it yet. And we're like, all right, this needs to be created. Like, it starts to accept that the journey shall begin. So it creates that helping bridge to your tomorrow, wherever they may happen. And it's also, of course, let's see. Okay. Being kind to other people is one thing that was brought up, but that's just retarded. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's, there is apparently this thing, I'd never heard this before, so this is kind of new to me. This reticular activating system. I'm sure some of you guys are all familiar with this, right? A couple of you, I can hear the comments coming already. But the reticular activating system, basically the visualization really helps kind of reprogramming this sort of subconscious activity that seems to happen inside of us. It's some sort of mental filter, right? So a lot of us are like, why does this chatter happen, right? That's all part of the same thing. So again, we're trying to get that in line. We're trying to get it with something we can believe. We're trying to get ourselves visualizing, this end result that we're worthy, we can have. Like, again, if all things are healthy and everything is cool, that's essentially what you're doing. That's the mechanics of it. Now, we can handbrake ourselves 6 ways from Sunday, so I'm not going to try to cover every way we can jack ourselves. I've done that in plenty of videos, but that's the mechanisms. That's why the visualization really helps. It's supposed to help. Maybe it might be a challenge sometimes for you, but it's supposed to be doing this kind of concept. This is how it works. It's the mechanics. It's a beautiful thing. So once we get all that going, it's awesome, and we've done our work, and they usually talk about, and this is what a lot of people, I think, do, and this is where the balance part's supposed to come in. A lot of people are really, truly are spending way too much time doing this visualization work. Way too much time. And what it does is it costs you the opportunities that present themselves in the moment. There might be signs that would show up if you weren't so busy staring at the ground because you're thinking about something crazy and you can't accept the fact that when I did my meditations this morning and then my visualizations and then my mantras or my affirmations or whatever, and then stopped, that I was good. And maybe at lunch, I do it again if I really want to, or maybe at night before I go to bed, I do it again. But that's it. And then you go about your day and you see what the day presents you. I am asking for this, and a lot of times I'll do this. I'll be like, tomorrow I'd like an answer to this, and show me a sign, show me whatever you want. I don't care. Give me the answer, and it shows up. Almost always, it shows up in a way that's very, like there it is. I just kind of chuckle because it's like the universe shows me crap all the time, and I love it. So enjoy the now. The now is what we're living for. It's what it's all about. Of course, we're envisioning a tomorrow because it's not here right now, right? So don't focus on that. We're focused on the fact that whatever your job is, whatever you do for fun, staying busy, exercising, playing games, whatever it is, making lunches for the kids, I don't know. I mean, obviously you don't do that all day unless you work in a cafeteria. That's very possible. So again, that's a good thing to do. If you're meditating, you, of course, they recommend doing your visualizations afterwards, but if you can't, you can't. But that is the thing, because when you get yourself in that meditative state and you get your mind in a very good place, that is one of the best times to do visualization work, because Everything is just dialed in. You're not thinking about all this other stuff. Your mind chatter is numb. It's just beautiful. So a very good way to do that. Oftentimes they say when you're going to read like affirmations and things like that, for the greatest effect, highly recommend you read it out loud. Just the whole aspect of reading things out loud is an extra sense. Your ears are now involved, not to mention the vibration of the sound inside your head. That's why if any of you have ever recorded yourself, the way you talk, and you're like, I don't sound like that. I sound totally different. It's like, no, you echo inside your own head. It's different. Everyone else hears the way you are hearing it. It's like, oh, I trip. I'm like, I don't know why people think I have a nice voice. It sounds great in my head. You guys should hear it from my vantage point. It sounds great. Anyway, the effects. So when you're doing visualizations, we've talked about this before as well, but you want to add the 5 senses if you can. Your cells, your smells, your sight, your touch, your taste, all these things. Try to add that to the visualization. For one person that's been very vocal lately, imagine licking someone's neck. You're kind of an interesting, she's a very animated person, it seems. Anyway, and very funny how it plays out. So again, also things that have happened too, as far as research on the brain, as far as a lot of things we've learned, is when you create an emotional attachment to this visualization. It's kind of why we try to think about it really, really good, right? We try to give it all 5 senses, try to get it to a place where we feel the love, law of attraction kicking in, right? All those things, trying to get them going. And we're trying to do that because when you do that, it creates essentially in the same part of the brain, a memory. It's now got an emotional connection. There's some science that suggests that some of memories is attached to the fact that an emotional thing happened and it really locks in that memory. So when you can attach it with emotion, with love, with whatever, and sometimes it even, some of you have like, I have to have this, and then you're like, oh my God, it happened all the way. It's the same thing. It's that level of urgency, and when it happens, it creates a kick. So if you can add that emotion to it, it makes an enormous difference. So again, as real as you can make it to the point to where you can feel it, and it goes a long way. Now, one of the best ways when you start to find yourself drifting, again, balance, right? You've done your work, but you're not supposed to be doing it all day long. I know, what about living in the end? Well, if you're constantly walking around doing these things, you're probably doing it because you feel like, in not all cases, all right, not all of you, I'm sorry, some of us are walking around and we're doing this because we feel like this is what we're supposed to do to make it happen. That is not going to speed things up in any way, shape, or form if you're coming at it from that angle, truly. If you're coming at it from the angle where you walk by a cafe and you're like, dude, me and her are going to totally come here because this is going to be delicious. I can see it. She's going to love this. Like, we're coming here. That is living in the end in a very healthy way, right? Where you're looking at it and you're like, no, we're totally going to be doing this. It's not that I'm constantly trying to pretend I am doing it right now. It's not, because you're doing it for the reasons because I don't have it. And when that's your reason for doing it, it's a handbrake immediately. You're just locking up the brake all the way. You're pushing your foot down on the other brake pedal, and then you're punching the gas. And you're like, why am I not getting there? You could not brake yourself harder. So don't. Let it go. So stop worrying. That's part of letting it go too. It's just, let it happen. Live the day. It might take 5, 6, 7 days. Might take 10, 12 weeks. Might take 4 or 5 months. I don't know. Depends on your situation. But it's not instant. So enjoy what universe brings to you. What God, what Allah, what Yahweh, what Jehovah, what insert name here brings to you. Enjoy it. It is the present moment. It's where you get presents. You get gifts. You get things. It's the only place you get things is in the now. You get opportunities to act in the now. And if you're too busy looking down, you might not have just saw the cool sign that was there for you, even though you wanted to, and you're like, nah. Like, or I'm just so that I can't feel anything else because your mojo's all jacked. Get away from that. Do your work. Do it. Let it go. It's coming. It's happening. There's no quicker way to do it. Stop trying to do it quicker. Just the fact that you're trying to do it quicker implies that you're handbraking. That's why you feel like you need to go faster, because you keep pulling up the handbrake. Slow it down. Let it go. Don't worry about it. It's happening perfectly. So we're going to use these. We're going to use these visualization techniques. We're going to use them to achieve our goals. But what we need to make sure we learn to do is to balance the now with our tomorrow. If we're constantly focused out here someplace, then you are missing the boat completely. And if you're constantly here right now, well, that's a good thing too, but it's good. If you're worried about the speed in any way, shape, or form, then do it once a day. That's fine. Honestly, like I've said, I usually do it until it's clear in my mind, and that's it. Done. Let it go, and I move on to other things. I got a whole bunch of things I'm manifesting, always. So put it out there. I know it's happening, and I'm working towards it, and everything's good. Every day is awesome. A lot of cool stuff happens, and I just keep moving about. And then it's like, boom, boom. Hey, totally. I remember when I was trying to do that, and it's not specific things as much as directions for me, as much as heading in this way. Like, I'd like to see the YouTube channel become more and more successful. I'd like to see more financial wealth come my way. I'd like to, get my place fixed up a little bit more. And the relationship thing is coming, but I do believe all these other things come into play as well. This is a much, much larger me that I am enjoying the creation of. That's how I look at it. And it's fine. If it takes me another 6 months, a year, whatever, I don't care. I don't care. It's a beautiful process. So hopefully you guys can get in on this and enjoy it. Because you know what? When everything, yeah, exactly. Like I'm agreeing with myself. When everything is going well in our lives, you truly get the gifts at the moment, like when in the present, right? The gifts. It's just when you're really kind of enjoying it, you're a lot more aware, a lot more open, your energy attracts it more. All of these things come into play, and more stuff will show itself to you. It's always dancing around you. All this stuff that you're going to start to notice as you awaken more, as you start to let go of all the handbrake more, you'll start to notice that, wow, all this stuff starts happening. And it's always been happening. You're just noticing it now. It's always been around you. Nothing's changed, but now you're noticing. It's a fun process. It is a wonderful process. And really, truly, I hope more of you can really start to see the joy of this experience, because it's life-changing. It's changing your perspective. You're going to create an even more amazing relationship than you imagined even 5 months ago. It is amazing how this grows us in such a positive way. This whole process, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful process. It's more than just law of attraction. It's a life thing. Anyway, going out with a great song by Mr. Willie Nelson. You were always, actually, it's just always on my mind. Dan RadioStyle.
You were always on my mind. You were always on my mind. And maybe I didn't hold you all those lonely, lonely times. And I guess I never